May agree on the goals. We don't have any controversy. Goals is clean water, education, health, employment, opportunities, good houses, quality of life in all its dimensions. But how do you achieve that? That's where we live in a world that is becoming very difficult. Unless you struggle and fight to achieve that, you can't achieve those goals without changing the reality we live in. And that's where we come. The last 20 years, we have adopted a policy. We're not hiring slogans. We don't need to hire slogans.
We want, therefore, to develop our own community and an African personality. Others may feel that they have evolved the very best way of life, but we are not bound, like slavish imitators, to accept it as our mold. If we find the methods used by others are suitable to our social environment, we shall adopt or adapt them. If we find them unsuitable, we shall reject them.
No one is allowed to be their equal in terms of controlling technology, the latest technology. They have to influence major resources of the world.
Welcome back to Drive for Africa. Today's feature highlights a crucial conversation among Africa's visionary leaders who emphasize the importance of independence from Western powers. Through strategic alliances and collaborative development efforts, they envision a continent that thrives on its own terms. Discover how unity and shared initiatives can drive Africa towards sustainable progress and autonomy. Let's begin.
Why are people greedy? Can you find an explanation for that? Why does someone want to take your resources unjustly? It's no secret that they want to dominate the world. It's no secret that they control resources. Even if we're talking about special interests, they may have their allies, they may have their networks globally, but they are the main stakeholders or the majority stakeholders in what we call special interest. Oil industry, manufacturing, technology, even the control of our minds, media, culture, learning institutions. Somehow they have come to control and they believe they can control the world. It's a big mistake. Yes, during the Cold War, there was a bipolar world. There was competition between the former Soviet Union and the United States as superpowers. We have seen how that fight has emerged into a situation. That era ended early 90s, probably 20 years ago. And these special interest groups have developed a very wrong and distorted notion that now they are the only superpower. They have to control the resources of the world for the coming 2-3 generations and maybe beyond, because no one can compete with them, and they cannot allow anyone to compete with them. They can't allow any power to rise to be their equal in terms of the military capability. No one is allowed to be their equal in terms of controlling technology, the latest technology. They have to influence major resources of the world, and they have to have the means for doing that. The previous issues we raised about special interests controlling the media, conglomerates, controlling regional and international institutions, including financial institutions, governing or controlling the world by proxy, by agents. This is not my analysis. This is a program for these people. This is their global program. They want to control the world. Come to Africa, they will tell you, they will have anchors, south, west, east, and north. And they have to have agents. That was what I mentioned earlier about the Nixon doctrine,
yes.
because the United States cannot overstretch, it has to control areas by agents, and they have to identify and select agents. It's not hostility towards Eritrea. This is a very sick mentality, an intolerant mentality of domination and control, and whenever people are not conforming to their wishes and their priority, then you would be targeted. But it's not an isolated case. It's not Eritrea alone. We are part of a very sensitive region.
Yes.
We have so many conflicts because of their policies. It's Afghanistan, it's Pakistan, it's Iraq, it's the Middle East in general, it's the Horn of Africa, the Red Sea. This is an area designated for their control and domination.
Yes, we will talk about that.
We unfortunately, we happen to be in this geography.
I begin to understand not only our Africa, but the more I begin to understand us as Black people. Why is it that we are the most disrespected people on earth, no matter where you find us on this globe? They often wondered why these Black people are so smart and so indestructible. Maybe it's because of that third eye. No, it is the melanin. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us the origin of humanity, which is our motherland. Our motherland, Africa. The continent with everything and anything the world needs. The continent that everybody is going to for their needs. But the continent that we, the children of Africa, are busy running away from. That keeps me up every night. The more I try to dig deeper in understanding as to why Africa is where Africa is today, I couldn't help but find myself repeatedly going back to the beginning to say, how did we end up where we are as Africans? How did we get here? Not only as Black people, but as Africans. The colonizers started coming to Africa, starting with the Portuguese, followed with slavery. But by 1884, after they had been haphazardly going into our continent, looting from the Africans, pretty soon they started looting from each other the loot that they had looted from the Africans. And before you know it, they were killing each other. And they were getting ready to have a war, a European war on the African soil. So Bismarck, the Chancellor of Germany at that time, called his sidekick Leopold, King Leopold of Belgium, said, listen, we got a problem. We're getting ready to kill each other and have a European war in Africa. Why don't we call all the colonizers? That was France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and of course the mighty Britain. Let's all meet in Berlin, Germany, and strategize on how we can organize ourselves so we can effectively see to it that Africa and her children are forever defeated and dominated. They proceeded to chop up our Africa into tiny little countries that we know of today. Economies that are designed to see to it that they will never make it on their own. And in the event those small economies do make it, they're easy to destabilize.
We cannot afford not to act together. Good people, this is my request to you. And our organization must begin to internalize accountability If you want to wield power, if you want to wield authority, you must be ready to be held to account. Otherwise, you have no business. And the organization to hold the African Union to account is this parliament. So what am I saying? For example, let me give you another example. We have been to US Africa. We have been to some other engagement with other countries. Now we have been invited for Russia-Africa summit. We have made a decision, very respectfully as heads of state in Africa, that any engagement with other partners must be an engagement of equals. And for it to be meaningful, if we are going to meet the president of a country, we have organized ourselves that the Troika is going to represent Africa. The chair, the current chair, the past chair, the chair that is coming, and the heads of our regional economic commissions, about 6-7 people. But what happens continuously? When others want to engage with us, they don't want to deal with a troika. They want to invite 50 heads of state. So we go to a meeting, just explain to me what kind of outcome you expect where 50 heads of state are sitting. Everybody is asked for speak to 1.5 minutes. You speak to for 1.5 minutes. What kind of engagement are you going to get? You're going to get nothing, right? The best that you get is photographs.